So by 2030, roughly 59 out of every 100 workers on this planet are going to need a complete reskilling.
Yeah, it's a staggering number.
It really is. I mean, welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. We are so glad you're here with us because think about that stat for a second.
Yeah.
That is nearly 60% of the global workforce whose current capabilities, they just won't match the demands of their actual jobs.
Right. And if you listen to the dominant narrative out there right now, the response to that is pretty grim.
Oh, completely. It's all doom and gloom. We're constantly told that AI is just going to step in, take all those jobs, and basically leave us all in the dust.
Exactly.
But what if we've been looking through the wrong end of the telescope this entire time? What if AI isn't this, ultimate replacement, but actually a 10x multiplier for human potential?
What's fascinating here is that this is a complete paradigm shift and honestly a really much needed one.
Yeah.
The documents we're analyzing for you today, it's this fascinating stack of strategic papers and press releases centered on a concept called Human 2.0.
Human 2.0.
Right. And these sources, they really challenge this creeping fatalism we seem to have about technology lately. They argue, with a lot of significant evidence, that our goal shouldn't be subtracting the human presence from the economy, but drastically upgrading it.
Okay, let's unpack this right away.
Yeah.
Because when I was reading through these sources, I just kept thinking about the invention of the calculator.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right, because when the calculator arrived, there was this absolute panic that it was going to replace mathematicians. Like, why do we need humans if a little plastic box can do long division in half a second?
Exactly.
But of course, the calculator didn't replace the mathematician. It just automated the arithmetic so the mathematician could, go off and invent entirely new universes of complex math.
Right. It freed them up.
Yeah. So this Human 2.0 framework essentially asks, what happens if we give every single worker a contextual supercomputer to guide their actual physical hands?
That is the perfect framing. And what's crucial to establish right up front for you listening is that this isn't speculative fiction.
Right. This isn't some sci-fi movie.
No, not at all. We aren't discussing a white paper from some Silicon Valley think tank predicting what might happen in, 20 years. The materials we have today detail a deployed reality.
It's happening now.
It is. This Human 2.0 approach is actively being used right now to multiply capabilities across heavy industry within huge global university systems, and even for individual learners trying to map out a career path.
So to really understand how they're doing it, we first need to look at the math of the labor market. Because the crisis we are facing isn't actually what it looks like on the surface.
Not even close.
Let's look at the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2025. This gets cited heavily across these documents. We mentioned that 60% of workers will need reskilling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the report also notes that 39% of workers' core skills are going to fundamentally change in just the next few years.
Right, and employers are feeling that friction acutely right now. According to the data, 63% of employers cite skills gaps as their single biggest barrier to transformation.
Wow, over 60%.
Yeah. They have the capital, they have the strategic desire to evolve their businesses, but they literally just cannot find the people who know how to execute the new work.
So the technology isn't the roadblock.
No, the bottleneck isn't technology at all. The bottleneck is human capability.
But here's where the plot twist comes in. And frankly, this is the data point that stopped me in my tracks when I was prepping for this.
The net increase stat.
Yes. That exact same World Economic Forum report forecasts a net increase of 78 million jobs.
Right.
A net increase. So wait, if the work isn't disappearing, and we are actually creating tens of millions of new roles, why is the global anxiety about AI so universally high?
It's a massive disconnect.
It is. Why does everyone feel like they are about to be replaced if the math literally says we need more workers than ever?
Because people are confusing a capability gap with a job crisis.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, the jobs exist.
Right.
And millions more are being created as the economy transitions. What's scarce is the highly specific knowledge required to actually do those jobs. Ah, I see.
Yeah. Dan Lajerskar, the founder behind the Human 2.0 concept, he points this out in the strategy documents. And his perspective cuts right through all the noise. He argues that replacing people is the smallest, least interesting, and frankly, least economically viable use of AI.
I found that line so fascinating. Replacing people is the least interesting use of AI.
Think about it. If you build a billion-dollar AI model, just save a few salaries by automating customer service emails.
Right, it's such a tiny return on investment.
Exactly. You are thinking incredibly small. The real prize, and really the only mathematically possible way we are going to fill those 78 million new jobs, is multiplying what a single human can accomplish.
Right.
If you can deliver knowledge to a person in a format that instantly changes what they can physically accomplish in the real world, you make them 10 times more capable. That is Human 2.0.
So it's about bridging that capability gap faster than the market itself can change.
But hold on, let me push back a bit here, because I know what some of you listening are probably thinking. If the goal is just transferring knowledge quickly so people can do these new jobs, why aren't the current massively popular AI models enough?
That's the billion-dollar question.
Right. I mean, basically everyone has a highly advanced chatbot on their phone right now. You can ask it to explain quantum physics or, write Python code. Why can't we just use ChatGPT or Claude to close this capability gap?
Because of the fundamental limitation of where those models actually operate. And our sources draw a very sharp line here between two concepts, bits and atoms.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I love this distinction when reading the sources because it explains so much of our current tech frustration.
It really does clarify things.
Yeah. Most of what is marketed as revolutionary AI today lives entirely in bits. It's just text generated on a screen. Yeah. It's large language models churning out tokens in massive server farms out in Silicon Valley. It is pure, 100% digital information.
Exactly. It's essentially very sophisticated software. But the real economy, the infrastructure that actually keeps the lights on, the supply chains moving, keeps people alive in hospitals, that doesn't happen on a screen.
Right.
It happens in atoms. It's physical reality. We are talking about a deep water wellhead, an active lithium mine, a busy hospital ward, a commercial aircraft engine.
You can't fix an engine with software.
Right. You cannot repair a cracked turbine blade with a highly articulate essay generated by an LLM. You need human hands on cold metal.
It's the difference between studying sheet music in a perfectly silent room versus sitting at an actual piano where the keys light up exactly when you need to press them.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Because the sheet music, or the chatbot, in this case, it teaches you the theoretical concept. That's bits, but it doesn't give you the muscle memory. You have to translate that theory into the physical world, into atoms, to actually play the song. You just can't bridge a physical industrial skills gap with a text prompt.
That is a fantastic analogy. And it gets to the exact mechanism of Human 2.0. The strategy here isn't to ignore the digital AI, but to reach through the screen.
To bring it into the real world.
Yes. Human 2.0 is fundamentally about taking that vast ocean of digital knowledge, the bits, and fusing it with human judgment, spatial awareness, and physical dexterity. The atoms. It turns knowledge into tangible capability.
Which makes perfect logical sense. But, okay, let's look at the nuts and bolts of how this actually happens. Because practically speaking, if we know we need to train millions of people in atoms, how do we do that safely?
Right. Safety is a massive hurdle.
Yeah, if I'm trying to upskill someone to calibrate a multi-million-dollar robotics assembly line, I can't just hand them an AR headset, put them next to the real machine and say, all right, the AI will walk you through it. Good luck.
No, definitely not.
They'll break the machinery, or worse, they'll get severely injured.
Absolutely. The friction of the physical world is that mistakes have devastating costs. And that is exactly what the Human 2.0 operational roadmap is engineered to solve. The documents detail a continuous operating model, which they call a capability flywheel.
The capability flywheel.
Right. It's designed specifically to move a human being from zero knowledge to high-stakes physical performance, bypassing that exact physical friction you just mentioned.
Okay, let's dig into the mechanics of this flywheel for everyone. The sources break it down into 4 distinct phases: learn, train, perform, and achieve.
Exactly. 4 phases.
Now, the learn phase seems pretty straightforward. This is the theoretical grounding. You're interacting with an AI tutor, maybe in an immersive digital environment, just figuring out the basic concepts.
Right, getting the baseline.
But how do we cross from that theory into physical readiness without breaking expensive things?
That happens in the second phase, the train phase, and it relies heavily on spatial computing.
Okay, how does that work?
What they do is take complex physical environments, say, that robotics assembly line you mentioned, and they convert them into highly precise 3D models. They build full-scale immersive simulators. And this isn't just about looking at a 3D object on a flat monitor. You are in a spatial environment, often with multi-person scenarios to practice team coordination or even soft skills.
Imagine you are the one learning this complex mechanical procedure. The psychological impact of that is massive. If I am in a perfectly replicated virtual environment, I can take that robotic arm apart, put it together completely backwards, and just totally short-circuit the system.
Right, you can fail completely.
I can make 100 catastrophic mistakes, and the cost of those mistakes is exactly $0. I don't get fired, nobody gets hurt, no metal gets bent. It allows for fearless repetition.
Yes, fearless repetition.
Which is how human beings actually develop muscle memory.
Precisely. You are internalizing the physical process before the stakes are real. You've rehearsed it to the point of absolute fluency. And that drastically reduces the cognitive load when you move to the third phase, which is perform.
This is where it gets really sci-fi, but it's actually happening today. The perform phase is where bits finally touch atoms.
Yes. The worker is now out in the actual physical field, standing in front of the real robotics assembly line. But they aren't relying on memory alone anymore.
Right.
They are wearing smart glasses or using a spatial device that is linked to a live digital twin of the equipment they're working on.
Okay, let's define that clearly, because a digital twin isn't just a static 3D picture, right?
Exactly. A true digital twin is a live syncing data reflection of the physical object.
Okay.
Through IoT sensors on the actual real-world machine, the digital twin knows its current temperature, its pressure, its exact configuration in real time.
Wow.
So as the worker is looking at the physical machine through their smart glasses, the AI is overlaying critical right-time assistance directly into their field of vision.
That is wild.
It provides live assessment too. If they reach for the wrong valve, the system knows because it's tracking both the human's hands and the machine's state simultaneously.
So it's literally like having the world's leading expert standing right over your shoulder, intimately aware of the machine's exact status, whispering your ear and guiding your hands precisely when you need it.
That's exactly what it is.
So knowledge becomes rehearsal in the train phase, and rehearsal becomes supported execution in the perform phase.
Right, which
Fun.
leads naturally to the final phase of the flywheel, achieve.
What happens in achieve?
Once you have a documented record of successful AI-supported physical performance, you have a highly valuable asset. The achieve phase is about translating that performance into tangible economic outcomes.
Okay, like what?
That means career mapping, earning certifications that prove your fluency, venture building, and ultimately securing an actual income.
Oh, I see.
You aren't just telling a potential employer you read a manual, you have a verified data trail proving you can execute the physical task.
I see the elegance of the flywheel. It makes total sense. But I have to be honest, as I was reading this, my immediate thought went to the bottleneck of content creation.
Ah, yes, the creation side.
Because building highly precise 3D models, coding immersive VR simulators, rigging digital twins with live sensor data, that sounds incredibly labor-intensive.
It used to be, yes.
Right, because if we have to do this for 59 out of 100 workers globally across tens of thousands of different jobs, how does anyone build that much training content fast enough? It feels completely impossible to scale.
Historically, you're completely right. Content creation has been the single biggest hurdle in rolling out simulation training. It used to require armies of developers and 3D artists.
Yeah, that's what I pictured.
But the sources highlight a technical breakthrough that solves this. They use an orchestration layer they call the custom virtual builder.
Okay, how exactly does this orchestration layer work? Because to me, it sounded almost like magic in the press release.
It's essentially a highly coordinated network of specialized AI agents. Let's say you have a single dense PDF manual for a new hydraulic pump.
Just a normal PDS.
Right. In the past, humans would have to read it, write a script, manually build the 3D models, code the interactions.
Which takes months.
Exactly. With the custom virtual builder, you feed that PDF in as a single input.
Wait, just the raw document?
Just the document. The orchestration layer takes over entirely. It delegates tasks to different AI agents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. One agent parses the text to extract the step-by-step procedures. It passes that data to a spatial agent, which automatically generates the 3D meshes and builds the XR, the augmented or virtual reality simulation.
It is insane.
And it doesn't stop there. Another agent simultaneously writes a textbook based on the manual. An audio agent generates a conversational podcast explaining the pump's mechanics.
Just from the PDF?
Just from the PDF. A video agent creates a tutorial. And a testing agent designs the assessments and certifications to prove you learned it.
That is staggering. So instead of a team of human programmers spending 6 months to build one simulator, The AI agents collaborate instantly to create the entire immersive environment and all the supporting materials.
Exactly. It completely removes the friction of building the training so you can immediately focus on actually training the human.
It makes the capability flywheel scalable to millions of workers because the content generation is practically instantaneous.
Right, it's automated by AI.
Okay, so the tech works, the flywheel makes sense, and the content bottleneck is totally solved. But this brings me to a crucial question.
Sure.
I get how this works for a massive enterprise. If you are a multi-billion-dollar oil and gas company, you obviously have the capital to deploy custom digital twins and smart glasses to your engineers.
Yeah.
But what about the individual? If I'm a student graduating tomorrow or, a mechanic trying to pivot to a new industry, I can't afford an industrial simulator. Who is actually putting this into the hands of normal people?
That is where the organizational structure outlined in the documents becomes really important. The sources introduce a concept described as same lever, 3 doors.
Same lever, 3 doors.
Right. The lever, as we've discussed, is turning AI knowledge into physical capability. But Dan Ledgerskar, the founder, recognized that you cannot serve an individual student the exact same way you serve a massive aerospace corporation.
No, completely different needs.
So the technology is being deployed through 3 distinct companies, targeting 3 completely different audiences.
Right, and actually, before we break down these 3 doors, I want to be extremely clear for our listeners because the press releases were very legally explicit about this.
Oh, yes. Their point
The 3 companies we are about to mention, they're completely separate entities. They have their own management teams, their own independent ownership, and their own shareholders.
Right.
There's no merger. There's no common holding company here. What binds them together is simply a shared philosophy and conviction in this human 2.0 approach.
That's a vital distinction. They operate independently, tailoring that human 2.0 DNA to their specific markets.
Okay, so what is door number 1?
Door number 1 is for enterprises. This is handled by a company called EON AI Ventures, Inc. Their stated mission is to 10x the workforce.
This is the heavy industry application we were talking about earlier, right?
Yes. They are entirely focused on industrial AI, massive scale simulators, and enterprise-grade digital twins. Their clients are in sectors like mining, oil and gas, aerospace, and advanced healthcare.
The big players.
Exactly. They are solving the problem for companies that need to fuse deep AI analytical power with the human dexterity required on a drill ship or in a surgical theater.
Okay, so EON AI Ventures is handling the corporate giants. What is the second door?
The second door is designed exactly for the individual you asked about earlier.
The student or the mechanic?
Right. The goal here is to 10x the career, and this is run by a consumer-focused company called OHWOW. That's OWOW.ai.
It's an interesting name, OHWOW. It sounds much more approachable than, an enterprise tech company.
Which is entirely by design because it acts as a consumer launchpad. The fundamental problem OHWOW solves is that in today's rapid labor market, a traditional diploma alone often isn't enough to secure a job.
Oh, definitely not.
Employers want proven capability. So OHWOW helps individual learners turn their degrees into actual employment by giving them hands-on, practical project experience.
Oh, so they can actually show what they can do.
Exactly. They use the AI tools to build actual products and demonstrate their fluency. It bridges that gap between classroom theory and the tangible skills that employers are desperate to hire.
So EON AI Ventures for the corporations, OHWOW for the individual trying to get hired,
Yeah.
and the third door.
The third door targets the institutions themselves, universities and governments. The goal here is to 10x relevance, and this is handled by EON Reality, which operates something called the Global Campus.
Why do universities need a specific door for this?
Because educational institutions are terrified of irrelevance. If the market is moving so fast that 39% of course skills change by 2030, a 4-year curriculum is often completely obsolete before a student even graduates.
That is a terrifying thought for higher ed.
It is. So EON Reality allows these institutions to lead the reskilling shift. They map their courses directly to high-growth job segments, integrating the immersive learning and AI tools so that universities can train people for in-demand jobs at the exact speed the market requires.
And we really shouldn't gloss over the sheer scale of what EON Reality has already deployed because this proves just how far past the theory stage we really are.
Oh, the scale is massive.
According to the strategic documents, they have over 4,400 institutional customers across more than 80 countries. We are talking about over 136 million platform downloads and a global campus that offers more than 9,000 courses.
Yeah.
This isn't a beta test. It is massive, functioning global infrastructure for upskilling humanity.
It really is. And if we connect this to the bigger picture we started with, the impact is profound. The entire global conversation around artificial intelligence has essentially been trapped in a state of defensive anxiety.
We've just been scared of it.
Right. We have been hyper-focused on measuring what the machine can do instead of us.
It's the fear of the calculator all over again.
Exactly. But by shifting our focus from digital bits to physical atoms, by taking that vast AI knowledge and applying it directly into human capability through that flywheel of learning, rehearsing, and performing, we unlock the actual potential of this era.
Yeah.
We are not replacing the worker. We are upgrading them. We are building Human 2.0.
It is such an incredibly empowering takeaway. If you are a student listening right now trying to figure out how to break into the market, or an educator trying to keep your curriculum relevant, or even a CEO trying to transition your business into the future, the goal is not to use tech to cut costs.
Yeah.
The goal is not to fire people to save a buck. The goal is to take human potential and multiply it by 10. Because when you do that, the value you create is exponentially higher than the cost of any salary you could have saved.
It completely changes the entire relationship we have with the tools we create.
It really does.
They are no longer our competitors. They become intimate extensions of our own physical and cognitive capabilities.
And want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought to mull over as you step back into the real world today. We've talked extensively about closing the current capability gap, about training people to do the jobs that exist right now. But let's project this forward a bit.
Okay.
If the Human 2.0 approach truly works, and we successfully take our existing physical and mental limits and multiply them by 10 across the entire global workforce, what does the baseline of average human achievement look like a decade from now?
Wow, that's a huge question.
Right. When every single one of us has a customized AI expert whispering in our ear, guiding our hands in real time, allowing us to safely simulate our boldest ideas before we ever actually build them, what entirely new universes of problems will we finally be capable of solving? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning and stay curious.